obliged. Let's go back. Okay. Hey, everyone. It's Krish here, and we have Samantha and PJ. Say hi, y'all.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, no.
So we are back for week 3, which is session 3, and today is April 19th. Christelle, I'm not sure if you wanted to have the subtitles again, like last class. I don't see them at the bottom. It seems like we have a question. Infinex, I'm not sure who that is. Do you have a question? Okay, probably was an accident. Okay, so welcome to our next class. As you know, our aim is to practice the English language by completing independent reading and having engaging class discussions. So, as you know, it's Samantha, Krish, and PJ today with you all. As a reminder, class meets every today, April 19th, April 26th, May 3rd. Those are our next class dates. And we are basically going to jump right into the work from last class. So either PJ or Samantha, if y'all can remind me of what the title of our reading for last class was. I'm pretty sure Money Makes the World Go Around.
Yeah, it's something almost. Let me pull it up.
Yes, so that was our reading from last class. You all did such a great job at, just being engaged, and, when we did vocabulary, that was really awesome. We're gonna go over some of those words for memory later on, but if you can bring up your answers that you got for the questions of that reading, that would be great. I will give you all like a minute. So in 3:45, right now it's 3:44. Just take a minute, pull up your answers, and we are going to go through the questions from last class. And as always, the floor is open. If you would like to, make an answer to a question, you can just use the raising hand emoji, or you can type in the chat, or if you feel comfortable with practicing your English, you can also unmute and share the answer to the question. All participation is welcomed. Alrighty, great. So I'm trying to think if it'd be helpful for me.
Hello.
Oh, yes, who's speaking? I think it's Marie. Do you have a question, Marie? Did you want to say something? I think Marie was just saying hi. Hi, Marie. Hope you're doing well. Okay, so we're just going to start. So going to the first question, it asked to list 3 things mentioned in the text which people cannot obtain with money. So giving a few seconds, if you want to type in the chat what you think the answer for all 3 of them are, that would be great. You can just type them, you can unmute, but what do folks think the answers to this question can be? And even if you didn't read the text or take anything from the reading, just using your thinking skills, what do you think are things that you can obtain with money? We all know what money is. It can buy a lot of things, but there are things that it cannot buy. So what are some things that money can't buy? Yes, Chriselle?
I will jump in just to say something to the students in French so that we're sure they're here and so on. Donc, bonjour à tous. Bon, vous voyez que Krish, Samantha et PJ ont commencé le cours là. Et donc, le but, c'est que vous parliez. Parce que là, on ne peut pas faire de monologue. Donc, si vous ne parlez pas, ça va être compliqué. Donc, il faut que vous parliez ou que vous écrivez dans le chat. C'est pas PJ ou Samantha ou Krish qui vont répondre aux questions. Et vous, même si vous n'avez pas lu le texte de la semaine dernière, vous pouvez avoir des réponses. Donc, s'il vous plaît, participez, parce que sinon, ça va être un peu bizarre, quoi, le cours. Alors, on vous attend. Merci. Parce que sinon, ça va.
Yes, je vais essayer de répondre à la question.
Okay, go ahead and just speak only English. In fact, I speak French, but Krish, Samantha, and PJ, they don't speak French.
Yes, I speak.
Okay, thank you.
It take money. It take money to buy food, obtain clothing, and pay for or buy a home.
So you just mentioned something that you can buy with money, which I believe you said is food. But what's one thing that you can't? What just happened? Are y'all able to hear well, or is it just me? Because I feel like my computer is glitching right now.
I can hear you perfectly clear. I think it just might be over
Okay, I
there.
just wanted to make sure because my entire slide just faded out. I don't know why.
It seems Mary has a problem of speaking with us.
Which is totally fine. But
Yeah.
would anyone else like to?
Yes.
Ka, I think you wanted to
I
say
speak not good English.
that's okay.
I speak not good.
You're here to practice, so go ahead.
Hmm?
You are here to practice, so just speak.
Hmm. It take money to buy food, obtain clothing, and pay for rent or buy a home.
Yes, thank you. So those are things that you can buy with money, but we want to know what are things that you cannot buy with money.
K, la question est, je la traduis en français, mais tu vas répondre en anglais. Qu'est-ce que l'argent ne peut pas?
Oui.
Qu'est-ce que l'argent ne peut pas acheter?
Mhm.
Qu'est-ce que l'argent ne peut pas acheter?
Ah, j'ai compris. The life,
Well, it depends on what you're looking
the
at.
life,
To live, of course, you need to eat, you need to live. So those are all things that cost money, but maybe it would be helpful to think about friendships and think about people who mean something to you. I'm sure that, you know, your family helps to pay for things, but maybe you don't necessarily need to pay for things for your family to love you or to support you or to, you know, have a connection, a relationship. So when it comes to relationships, friendships, forming a bond with someone, those are things that don't require money, because it should take happiness, it should take just being able to talk with someone, to love them, to, you know, have that engagement in order to make that work. It doesn't really require money, but of course we know that we need to eat. Money, I mean, food isn't free, so we have to pay for that stuff. So that's just an example. Does anyone else want to say something, or are we good? Do we understand? Okay, and that's really the main point that I wanted to get into. That's like a huge takeaway, just relationships, friendships, just bonds that are meaningful, that matter to you, doesn't require money. So we can move to the next slide. This is question 2. So we have a who or what question. So who or what do the following cards refer to? So this requires you to go back to line 12, line 18, and I think this is line 1, but I'm sure it's probably line 21. Yes. So you're going to have to go back to your text, but when you go back to your text, what do you think these words are referring to in the reading? So would anyone like to say what they think it is if you're looking at the reading? Honestly, I'm thinking we can maybe skip over this one.
Chris, I have the answers to the question 2 if need be.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Sorry, just like totally. If you would like to give the answers to each of those, that would be great.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll do. I got you. So for themselves, what line 2 is referring to is the wealthy people. So what that talked about was it had to do with how wealthy people view poor people. And in that paragraph, which is paragraph 4, it talks about how wealthy people are assumed to look at poor people as lazy. So themselves is referred to as wealthy people. For question 2, their words is coming from the friends in the actual piece where whoever was narrating it is talking about or talking about how their friends viewed poor people as well. And then by doing so was how you utilize money. And to answer that was keeping money in its place, always subordinate to friends, family, and then also your emotional and physical health, how important that is. That is the last paragraph in the article if you already read it. Chris, you there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
you're good. You're good.
Okay, thank you for doing that. I forget to turn it back on. I'm back. Question 3 says complete these sentences with information from the paragraphs indicated. So the first statement is life on Earth would be a total chaos if money ... Would anyone like to take a jab at answering that?
It's in the first paragraph, guys, if you read the article.
Just a few things to think about. Money is definitely something that we need. We need money. So if we didn't have money, then what do you think the next few words to this statement would be? Okay, so in simple terms, basically you could say if money didn't exist. PJ, is that one of the answers or the answer?
Yeah, so if money didn't exist, the world would be in a state of panic and then also could result into war. So, things of that nature, obviously look at the world as kind of more negative if we didn't have money. And then for the second one, some poor people, some rich people refuse to help the poor people because, like I said, in the second question, assume that rich people assume that poor people are lazy. So that would be the answer to number 2 as well.
Thank you, PJ. So we're gonna play match the vocabulary because why not? So we have a list of words. So the first 4 words are acquaintance, regard, regardless, and faithfulness. These were all 4 words that you all chose that you didn't understand from last week's reading. So And then I added 4 more words, which I kind of wanted y'all to play the game so that you can try to understand it for yourself before we give you the answer. So the next 4 words are contentment, panic, limitation, and conclude. So would we like to have someone volunteer to give us the definition to acquaintance? What letter do you think matches up to the meaning of acquaintance? So remember, when you're an acquaintance to someone, you're not necessarily a friend, or you're not like a really close friend. So which letter do we think matches up with those words?
Some A.
A. Good job. That's right. Thank you. How about regard? What do we think the definition of regard is? What letter? So something that has meaning, something that has meaning, that has value. That has value. Yes, Ka? Yes, Ka.
Someone who is close to a friend but not a friend.
So that one we said was A for acquaintance. So that one wouldn't be it. Which other one do you think it could be?
Say,
Regard refer to D.
D? That would be correct. So you are having regard for something, you are something that you should consider something that is valued. And so what do we think regardless is? What letter would it be? Right? So what would that be? Either Claude or anyone else.
C.
So, C. No matter what, something that has less meaning, value. Great, thank you. How about faithfulness? I'll give you a hint. It's the part of the word is in one of the definitions for the letters. So think trustworthy. Yes, Diallo. What do you think it is? You can go.
B.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
B.
Yes. So
Being
it's B. Being a faithful friend, being trustworthy. Correct. Good job. The next word is contentment. So again, this is a new word, but take a chance. So we already went through A, B, C, D. It can't be any of those answers. So we are left between F, G, H, and I. So what do we think contentment is? So when you think content, think that you are not fulfilled, like you're hoping for more, but you're okay with where you're at. So you're like, okay, but like your okay is here, but your needs need to be like here for you to be like really, really content, to be like, I mean, really, really satisfied. So you're not exactly satisfied. You're just like, okay, you're content. It's okay. So what do we think that is? Anyone want to try?
I think it's F.
F, that is correct.
Yeah.
Good job. Great. How about panic? Panic. So you can think back to the pandemic. I don't think we want to go back there, but think COVID, think about being isolated in the house, think about maybe less support than you're used to in terms of friends being around. Think about how you felt during that period of time. What do you think that would cause you?
E. I.
You said E?
I.
Oh, I. Losing control, not in the right mind. Yes, that is correct. I was just about to say, I didn't even put an E. I forgot to put E. But yes, that is correct. Good job. How about limitation? So when you think a limit, this is as far as I can go. I can't go here, or anything above, I'm stopping here. So what do we think that means? What letter? Anyone want to go?
G.
Sorry, again, I could not hear you. What did you say?
I heard G.
You
Yeah,
said G? Okay. Yes, so that would be correct. A certain amount that you can go up to, knowing when to stop, come to a pause. Great. And then conclude. So what do we think that is? Conclude. You finished the story, it's done.
H.
Good job. You did great. And anyone else who participated, these are some pretty good words that would be great for you to know. And I think that you all did great. So thank you for participating. So we're going to move on to the next slide. So these are the words that you didn't understand from last class. As always, if you want to take a picture of the slide, then you can, but these are the words. And yeah, so just a review of that. So we're going to move into today's reading, which is called The Impacts of Domestic Violence on Society. So here is the link to the reading. You should have already done the reading and maybe taken notes to help broaden your understanding of what you read. And then maybe also circle words that you don't understand, because we're about to go over that. So I will give you about well, I guess this will be easier. Christelle, did you do a poll for the reading this time or no?
I did not, but it takes me basically 30 seconds to do it, so I can just do it.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So it was violence. And now I can launch it. So let me. Let me try to launch it. No. Not yet, sorry. Okay, I'm launching it.
So everyone, okay, there we go. So Christelle just made a poll on the Zoom. You should see it popped up on your screen. So it asks, did you read the paper before coming to class? So either yes or no, and then we'll see who did the reading.
So in the meantime, while they're doing this, I can just say that there are 5 students who posted their reading, either as a video or some text. So thanks for doing this. And we will be in touch with and tell you who is the winner of this week. So every week there's a winner for the reading, and PJ, Samantha, and Krish will determine who is the winner. for this week and 2 runners up. So we'll let you know ASAP as soon as we know.
Yes, thank you so much, Christelle. To whoever did the post of the videos, thank you so much for doing that. We will determine, who the winners are. So thank you. So the poll has come back, and I'm very impressed because I was saying that hopefully next class we get at least 80% of students to have read the text, and it seems like we got 80%, and 20% of y'all who didn't. There's a lot less of you all today, so I kind of expected that because y'all are great. I know that y'all would do the reading, so thank you so much to everyone who did. If you didn't do the reading, I would suggest to simply follow along with us, and we will explain the text and, as we're doing the questions and stuff. So follow along, but if you do have questions, just unmute or type in the chat. So we're going to move to the next slide. So I did want to say something before we continue with the reading, especially if you haven't done it yet. So we just wanted to say that during your reading, you should take your time to process what you're reading. The material can be heavy, and however you are feeling about what you're reading is valid. And to also, when you're engaging in this class discussion, to be respectful, be kind to yourself and fellow classmates, because we're talking about stuff that can be sensitive, and we want to be cautious and just supportive to our peers. So again, what you should have done is circle the words that you didn't know that are in the PDF. And oops, did not want to do that. And we wanted you to think about parts of the story that you maybe didn't understand, which would help to, bring out words, vocab that you did not understand. So moving on to the next slide. So we're going to have you all share out. So feel free to unmute, type in the chat what words, if you did the reading, what words do you not understand? If you didn't do the reading, take a minute or so or a few minutes to look up some words that you just don't understand right away. You can just skim through the text. Also, Christelle, I should be able to see the menu up on top that has the annotate feature, but for some reason it's not showing now that I'm on presentation mode. So
okay, I'll put you as a co-host. That's the reason.
Oh, okay.
That's the reason. Yes.
Actually, I think I can now. There we go. So we want to do text box. All right. So would anyone like to start with a word they didn't understand?
Merci de poster les mots que vous n'avez pas compris, etc. Les mots même importants de ce texte, en fait. Écrivez-les dans le chat ou ouvrez votre micro et parlez. Merci de participer.
I don't understand more increasingly.
Sorry, Ka, can you repeat that, please?
Increasingly.
Actually, Ka, it might be easier for you to type in the chat.
Yes.
Okay, I see in the meantime that Naday has done faithfulness. And we did cover on that word. Those were a few of the words from the current reading, actually, that I tossed in there. So,
Hello.
Nagati, did you want to suggest a word that you don't understand? Okay.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello. Hello.
I see Nade has typed judgmental, so we'll definitely do that. Does anyone have an idea of what judgmental means?
I want to do it in black just so it's easier to read.
Yeah,
'cause
I was
think
about to change
it's
that up because I don't know why it's blue.
Don't.
Even know if it's gonna let me go back to change it. This is so sad. It's like I don't know how to use Zoom. I'm just gonna type in a new box and I'm gonna change the text color. Let's see. Let's do black. It's not letting me.
Speed.
There we go.
Moving like definition black is judgmental.
Judgmental. Yeah, so does anyone have any ideas about what this word means?
It's a kind of judgment. Maybe
You said a form of judgment. So when you think judgmental, think like assessing someone, think like viewing a person under a microscope.
Yeah. And or making assumptions about person or thing.
oh,
Kind of like the saying, if
making
you ever heard the
exceptions.
saying, don't judge a book by its cover. Think like that.
I don't know. What word don't you understand? More likely judgmental. Ignited. What do you understand? More likely judgmental.
So thank you, Samantha. Yeah, so viewing a person under a microscope, making assumptions about someone you either know or don't. And we say this saying all the time, don't judge a book. I said just, okay. Don't judge a book by its cover. So yes. So I'm hoping that that makes sense. But that's a good word. And I'm seeing that we have another word in the chat, which is ripple. Ripple. So when you think of ripple, have you ever heard the term ripple effect? So think, well, yeah, think spiraling, think causing chain of events, something to happen. So basically, something like leads to something else. You can also think the domino effect. When the dominoes all knock over, it leads to the next one knocking over, etc. So that just means that one thing leads to another. And I'll also write that. All right, great. And then the next word is witness. So we already did strokes last class, so I won't do that one, but I'll do witness. So you are seeing something that happened that others possibly have not seen. So when you're on the news and you hear the eyewitness news, or you're hearing about people who were affected by something that happened, like they were witnesses, they were present when something happened, but they're being broadcasted, they're on TV because they're telling what happened because they were there. When you're viewing what happened from your home, you weren't there present at what happened. So they're telling you about what happened. Yes, Nagati, did you want to say something? Okay, great. So the next word that we're going to do is rather. So you can think, would you rather this or that? You can think of
It's
like, mhm.
It's my first. I don't text. That's why I can't understand.
Did you say you can't understand the text?
My first class.
Yeah, that's totally fine. However, you can participate or understand, like if it's easier for you, you can type in the chat. So just remember that. So rather, maybe hoping for a better option or outcome. So I'm not sure if any of you have heard of the game Would You Rather. So you're kind of being presented with two scenarios, and clearly you're going to be in favor of one thing over the other. You're going to want this rather than this because this seems better. So that's what you can think of when you think of the word rather. And then another word. Mhm. And then another word I'm seeing is hastily. I wanted to find this in a way that makes sense. So either Samantha and or Paige, do y'all want to help me?
Maybe like in a like urgency,
Yes.
like in a hastily manner, or
Urgency, this has to happen now. So think of it like that. Like, I don't want to say life or death, but if that helps, then like think of something that needs to be taken care of right now. And that I think would be the best definition for hastily. Thanks, Samantha. Any other words that anyone has? Does all of these words so far make sense? All right, cool. So thank you all so much for participating, and I'm just trying to get out of this. Great. All right, cool. So I'm gonna move on to the next slide. So definitely review these words. Again, if you want to take a picture or you're taking your own notes, it would be great to just know what the word means so that you can look back at the text and hopefully better understand it, or just the word itself, because that would be helpful for you. So we're gonna go on to the next slide. Okay, and I need to clear each of these. So it kind of wasn't smart for me to use that feature. Okay. So either Samantha or PJ, do y'all mind taking a screenshot of this while it's up?
Yeah, I could do that.
Okay. When you do, I'll just delete all of them. I don't want them to be in the way of the other slides. So just give me a thumbs up or just say done when you're.
All right, all set, Chris.
Perfect. So let me see. Undo. Perfect. All right. All right. So now we're going to go to the questions from the reading that we had. So again, this is very touchy. It can be touchy to talk about. So if you don't want to participate for that reason, I totally understand it. And we respect your decision on that. But for anyone who does feel comfortable to either unmute or type in the chat, what from the reading are two types of domestic violence? Does anyone want to go? Anyone feel comfortable? All right, so PJ, if you don't mind giving us the answer to that one.
For sure. So for the first one, you could have said psychological or verbal. And another form, unfortunately, would be either sexual or economic as well.
And just defining these a bit more. So psychological means that you are trying to manipulate someone, trying to get them to think that how they are treating you is okay when it's the opposite. And then of course,
I
verbal.
think emotional is in that category too, like emotional.
Yeah.
abuse.
Emotional, I think it also stands with psychological. So trying to say obvious things that are going to get the person that you're manipulating to try to, empathize with you, even though you are in the wrong. So that's kind of a way that I think about it. And then for sexual or economical wealth, of course, with sexual, we know that. And then economic wealth, that's, money, of course, like trying to hold over someone's head, that you have to stay in a situation when you don't because they're holding money over your head or it's whatever it might be. So that's just another example. Great. So what are two effects on victims from the reading? Anyone want to give it a try before PJ tells us the answers?
Affect victim, the children.
Specifically, what does it do to the children?
Like, what's the impact? Like, how is the victim made to feel? Like, does it affect their mental health? Does it affect the way that they perceive or look at themselves in the mirror? Does it affect their financial situation? Like, what do you think?
Violence can affect their physical, mental health, and their well-being in their family.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Would someone else like to give another example of effects on the victims? Okay, PJ, what would be some possible answers?
Absolutely. So for the third one, she hit right on the money as far as the mental and physical health. But to
Mhm.
dive a little bit deeper, you could have said stress. You could also said depression, or anxiety. So I feel like with the mental and physical health, it could have fallen in 3 or 4. So mental health for 3, and then obviously physical health for 4.
That was for 3 and 4, right? Or just all possible?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, both 3 and 4.
All right, perfect. So yes, stress, depression, anxiety, those are all make up our mental health. So yes, thank you, PJ. All right, now we're gonna move on to the next slide. Again, I have to move this stuff. So let me undo. All right, great. So let me see. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna ask PJ and Samantha, do y'all want to do this because it has some reading parts? Do we just want to do takeaways? Because I did want to get to that and we just have a few more minutes.
For sure, whatever. I have the answers to those too. So just.
Okay, yeah, and I mean, we could just review those like at the beginning of next class anyways.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So I did want to do this because we did talk about a few things that, again, can be sensitive and personable to you. So not that you have to share anything at all about how you felt about the reading or what you took from the reading, but if you feel comfortable sharing something that you learned today from the reading or just learned from talking with us as we were defining certain terms that maybe you didn't understand what that was, then you can point that out and either unmute or type it in the chat, and we would love to hear that. So if anyone who has participated, anyone who hasn't participated, if you feel comfortable, definitely let us know one thing that you learned from today on domestic violence.
Là, on aimerait vraiment que chaque personne qui est présente, là, ça fait 6 personnes au moins, écrivent dans le chat qu'est-ce que vous avez appris aujourd'hui sur la violence conjugale, je pense, oui, en français. Écrivez dans le chat en anglais, s'il vous plaît. Merci.
So would anyone like to share a takeaway that they took from the reading? And again, if you don't feel comfortable, that's totally fine. We respect it. All right, so maybe each of us can take something away from the reading or just what we know of domestic violence. So personally for me, I think, mental health, that aspect of things is really important because when you are in a situation with someone who has, again, they're manipulating, they're using power over you, whether it's economical, money, or they're using certain words that they know are going to make you feel empathy for them in some way and return back to a situation with them. That's something that resonates with me, and I think that's an important part to understand about domestic violence. So I will turn it over to either PJ or Samantha if you'd like to share
I just want to
anything.
say quickly, Nady said in the chat that she learned the different types of violence.
Yes. Mhm. It causes problems. It definitely does. Mhm. Alrighty, I think that was everyone. Well, thank you all so much for participating, for doing the reading, and for just making this, as always, an engaging class. Obviously, if we don't have participation, it's like we're talking to ourselves. So thank you for feeling comfortable to speak, to practice your English, yes, and it is important to take care of them. It causes problems in the population. Exactly. So yes, thank you all so much. And we will see you all next week. Any other final announcements or anything that anyone like to say before we go? Are we good, Christelle?
Yeah, we are good. See
Perfect.
you next week, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys. See ya.